Hi. Hi, are we able to record it at our end?
Yes, I'll do that, Roger. No problems at all.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
That's all right, mate. Just bear with me. There we are. Lovely. Anyone else? Let's have a look. It's okay. Right. Roger, are you okay to kick us off?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay. Hi, Graham. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Just before we start, Roger, just a reminder for everyone, when you're not asking a question, if you could please mute your microphone. I can see everyone's done it, but I'll mention it anyway. Please turn your camera off, and we'll use the chat facility to let me know if you've got any questions. Yeah, we're ready to go. Roger, when you're ready, mate.
Excellent, thanks. Hi, Graham. We've talked a lot about conditions out in India, and now we're going to throw in a pink ball and day-night as well. How much of an impact is that going to have on this test match, do you think? Well,
just by the nature of it, obviously half day, half night. So, we've had both our practice sessions, which we've had. One's been in the evening, one's been more in the afternoon. The challenge of facing the pink ball, the changing conditions, obviously, we'll have to react well to, and we'll have to adapt well to as well. The slight unknown quantity, but often the pink ball does a little bit more in the evenings than it does in the afternoon for the seamers. But we'll have to also take a look at the pitch regarding the spinners as well during the daytime.
You mentioned there the pink ball and the seamers. Do you think it's going to have far more, the seamers will have far more of an influence in this than we've seen in the first couple of tests, where it has been very, very much in favour of the spinners?
Well, it's possible. It's possible. I mean, it's without looking into the crystal ball, but I would imagine that the ball generally does swing more under the lights. They don't have a huge database of pink ball cricket in India. I think maybe the second one. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be, it's a fantastic stadium. As I say, we've prepared as well as we can, and we've got one more night practice tomorrow.
We talked a lot over this winter about the form of Joe Root and how important he is, but how crucial is it now for someone else to step up and lighten the load on the captain and come up with those big innings as he's been doing so far?
Yep, very important, very important. Obviously, Joe's been in really good form this winter, but it is important. We try to just constantly talk around, building the partnerships together, and hopefully that leads to what we try to do is to get our first innings runs, which are going to be crucial. We were well short, obviously, in the last Test match, so clearing the minds and looking forward to this Test match has been really important.
You expected much in terms of changes to the batting lineup? Zach Crawley back fit, didn't score a huge amount of runs before, but from what you've seen in the nets, is he looking like someone who's ready to come back in and play?
Well, he's looking fit, and I think we've probably got a full complement of players to pick from. So he'll certainly be in the mix. And his injury seems to have healed. It seems to have healed to me watching him in the nets.
That's great. Let someone else jump in now. Thanks a lot, Graham. All the best.
Cheers.
Nick Holt, please.
Hi, Thorpe. What's the if you can sum up the challenge of facing Ashwin in the second innings as a left-hander, all that rough? How difficult is that, and what have you done to try and work on that this week?
Well, it's not just for the left-handers. If the pitch spins, he's obviously dangerous, for left and right-handers. He's a fine bowler in those conditions as well. So, in terms of working with the players, it was important to get a good clear mind and kind of push that game away and try and reflect on it in terms of what could we have done better. it comes back down to similar things, trying to really, trust your footwork, and also trusting your defence, staying as calm as we can as well. But also you need to be positive in your mind in terms of your ability to score runs as well. And then hopefully that does get you in a better position just to play all round, whether that's attacking or defending. But we know we've got again another tough a week ahead of us, but we're looking forward to it.
He's got Stokes out 10 times, I think, in Test cricket. As a batsman, when you come up against a bowler who's got you out that many times, what do you do?
Well, it's a challenge. I mean, I think Ben actually has at times different styles of playing. He can build into an innings as well. I think Ben also has that ability to put a bowler on the back foot as well, and that's something which he certainly shouldn't forget.
Cheers.
Dean Wilson, please.
Hello, Wills.
Hello, Dean. Can you hear us?
Hi, Thorpe. Just a word on Johnny Bairstow. I mean, I would think not only come into the mix, but should pretty much get into the team based on his strong record, especially in Asia. What are you expecting from him, and what kind of advantage does a batting lineup with a Johnny Bairstow in it bring you?
Well, Johnny did well in Sri Lanka. You're absolutely right, and he will come back into the mix. As I say, all the players are fit, so we've got a choice to make going into this match, and we know what Johnny's credentials are. He's a good player of spin. He's got a decent record. As I say, he played well in Sri Lanka, so he's certainly going to be in with a shout. But as I say, it's very similar. I mean, we're still a day out from the Test match. You still want to have a proper look at as a pitch comes closer to the match as well. But he's certainly in with a shout.
Any more, Dean?
Thanks.
Dave Charlesworth, please.
No, thank you.
Hi, Graham. You all right?
Hi.
Playing against the pink SG ball brings a little bit of an unknown, but would it be preferable to playing on this pitch day-night conditions in what is suspected to help seam bowlers, so it helps the batsmen more used to those conditions rather than maybe what they face in the second Test in Chennai?
Quite possibly. As I say, that practice has almost just been getting used to the pink ball again, getting used to picking up the lengths at certain parts of the day as well. So purely just from that factor, I mean, it's really about how well that the players adjust to those conditions, whether they're batting or bowling. And I think the team who reacts the best will probably have a good chance of coming out on top on it.
Thanks. All the best.
Three more now, please. Matthew Henry, followed by Vihesh Roy and Shashwat Kumar. So, Matthew.
Hi, Graham. Similar to what Dean was saying earlier, obviously your rotation policy's got its positives that have been mentioned. How difficult is it for someone like Bairstow to play in Sri Lanka, to go home and then to come back and potentially be straight in for a Test match? From your experience, how difficult is that?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the one thing is that they come in maybe a little bit more mentally fresher, possibly. That'll be the one thing they do seem to be more rejuvenated, I think, when they've been out and they come back in for that break. So Johnny's practiced very well over the last few days. And, I mean, to be fair, what was it? Maybe a few weeks ago he was playing, but he's looked fine in the nets. But as I say, maybe that mental freshness can also be a real positive for you as well.
How do you think you'd have coped with a break like that? Do you think you'd have managed it, or difficult?
Oh, it seems such a long time ago now, Matthew. I wouldn't have a clue.
Okay,
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I sometimes the benefits can be that you go away, maybe you don't overthink things, as if you've been playing, and that can actually be beneficial sometimes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Vihesh Roy now, please.
Hi, Graham. A lot of batsmen have talked about the twilight period being the most challenging in a pink ball test. I just wanted to gain your perspective as to how important is it for the batters to be proactive and not get into their shells during this twilight period?
Yes, I mean, having had the practice sessions which we've had, it may have been a little bit more noticeable that the ball did move around. I mean, like anything, batting it can be quite dependent on how you're being bowled to. So that's one thing. Just having an understanding of what's coming down at you, and like anything, if you can execute well, then you're going to give yourself a good chance of scoring runs in any conditions.
And just another follow-up. This is a new stadium and the seats and lights are quite shiny looking at far away. Do you think a short ball tactic, if a team employs that, it can be very hard for the batsman to get away with?
Well, the side screens are in place, so hopefully, in terms of coming out of the seats, I mean, it depends. Again, the seating has a certain colouring, so it could be slightly harder for the fielders at times. But we'll have to see how it plays out.
And finally, Shashwat Kumar, please. Shashwat?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Good evening, Graham.
Hello.
So I had a couple of questions for you. So in the first test, the sweep shot worked very well for a lot of batsmen, including Joe Root. But slightly in the second test, as the wicket was slightly quicker, both in terms of the turn and the bounce, the sweep shot came unstuck for a few batsmen. So are you a little worried that is the go-to shot for a lot of your batsmen?
I think after the last test match, I mean, it probably became quite challenging for our players in those conditions, and I think they would have been better for reflecting on what options they actually have in those conditions as well. I think at the end of the day, it still comes down to the execution. I certainly wouldn't say to any of our players, you can't do this, you can't do that. I wouldn't say that, but I'd ask them to look at all their options. And the key thing for all of them is being able to execute the shot to the right ball. And that means also from a defensive point of view as well, just as much as an attacking point of view. So that's the challenge which is really presented to us, playing against good spinners on turning pitches in India. But I've sort of encouraged the players, to view it as a challenge and one which they should embrace, and excite them as well, because if they do well and they can score runs against this Indian attack in their own country, then they know they've worked very hard and earned their runs.
Okay, so as a slight follow-up to that question, so Rory Burns has gotten a couple of starts. Unfortunately, he hasn't gone on to convert them into substantial scores. In the first innings, in the first test, he played a reverse sweep, and in the second innings of the second test, he again played against the turn of the ball. So is that something that you have been working with him personally, or how would you try to tackle that?
Well, I think in many ways he's quite aware. Our players, they will look at it and they'll be very honest, and know full well that maybe they've taken the wrong option, at a certain time in their innings, and that is what actually happens at times. But it's trying to eliminate those mistakes. It's certainly in this part of the world where you will get good deliveries, and you do have to make the right choices.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for your time, and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Take care. Thank you.